You're here because you want to get smart fast, right?
Hmm.
You want to understand the stuff that matters, maybe leveling up your team or, getting a grip on a new trend.
Or just curiosity.
Exactly, that never-ending curiosity, but without feeling like you're drowning in data.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
Consider this your lifeline. We're about to cut through the clutter.
Okay, that's good. So today we're taking a deep dive into Christine Comerford's Smart Tribes, how teams become brilliant together.
Right, smart tribes.
Now, don't let the title fool you. I mean, yes, it's super valuable for leaders.
Definitely.
But at its heart, this book is really about understanding the fundamental drivers of, well, human behavior.
How we tick.
Yeah, and how we can tap into our potential, individually and together.
Exactly. Think of this as your personal shortcut, understanding what makes collaboration really click.
Where innovation actually comes from.
Yeah, and what fuels that personal growth. We're not just rehashing old teamwork ideas here.
No, we're digging into the core stuff, moving beyond, let's say, outdated thinking.
So let me ask you, have you ever seen a group of people just gel?
Oh, yeah. Effortless, almost.
Ideas bounce around, things get done, everyone's aligned, it's amazing.
And then you see another group just struggling.
Right. Can't even get simple things off the ground. Or maybe you've tried making a big change yourself.
Or in an organization, yeah.
And some changes stick, others just fizzle out. Why is that?
Well, this deep dive is all about exploring those dynamics.
Okay, let's jump right in then. One of the first things Smart Tribes hits on is positive reinforcement.
Pretty simple idea, right?
Yeah.
People do more of what gets rewarded.
Makes intuitive sense, doesn't it?
But here's a twist that really caught my eye. This concept of the success delusion.
Ah, yes. That's fascinating. It's how easily we fall into that trap of thinking, well, I succeeded doing this.
This must be the reason why.
Exactly. This way is the way. But the danger, as the book points out, is the world is constantly shifting around us.
So those strategies, those behaviors that worked brilliantly before, they might not just be ineffective now.
Uh-oh.
They could actually be holding you back. Have you ever had that happen? A go-to strategy just stops working.
Oh, for sure. And you're wondering why.
That's often the success delusion. Blindsided by your own past success, kind of.
That's a really powerful point. So just clinging to old formulas without checking if they're still relevant, that's a major pitfall.
A huge one. Comfort argues for a much more conscious, adaptive approach, especially with company culture, for sustainable results.
Which brings us right to the core, this smart tribe framework. Can you break down smart and tribe in this context?
Absolutely. So SMART here isn't just about IQ points or traditional intelligence.
Okay.
It refers to a specific state of our brain where the more proactive, innovative parts are in charge.
Like the neocortex, prefrontal cortex.
Exactly those. It's about responding thoughtfully, based on conscious choices.
Not just reactive.
Not reacting impulsively from a place of fear, that primal brain stuff.
Got it. So SMART is intentional problem-solving mode. What about the tribe part?
Tribe taps into that fundamental human need we all have. Connection. Belonging.
Deeply wired in us.
Absolutely. Our sense of safety, even survival, is tied to feeling connected to a group.
Right.
So in this context, tribe means a culture, a team, a department, whatever, that actively fosters collaboration, real emotional connection, clear shared goals, and just that sense of emotional engagement.
Okay, so it's the opposite of that feeling threatened, isolated.
Excluded feeling that triggers the old fight, flight, or freeze response.
Yeah.
Totally different state.
That clicks. And this focus on culture driving performance. I remember the book references Heskett and Cotter.
It does, yeah. Corporate culture and performance.
Yeah.
Just to underscore how much a strong, positive culture really impacts the bottom line.
It's not just fluff.
Precisely. Investing in a collaborative, supportive culture isn't just nice. It directly affects performance.
Right.
Success. Now, Comerford points out, building this kind of smart tribe, it often requires real change, not just organizationally.
For individuals, too.
Yes, how people operate. And we all know change, well, it can bring up some resistance.
Understatement, right. The book highlights that real improvement often means developing totally new skills.
New behaviors.
Sometimes even shifting core beliefs or even your sense of identity.
It's way beyond just tweaking a process.
It's about getting people genuinely invested, bringing their best energy, and anyone who's tried to lead change knows.
It's complex.
Oh.
Really complex.
So what makes culture change so darn difficult?
Comerford really emphasizes the sheer emotional complexity of humans. We're not predictable machines, right?
Definitely not.
Our behaviors are driven by so many things, a lot of it subconscious. The book makes a pretty bold claim
Which
that
is?
people are essentially unmanageable through
Yeah.
the old ways, control and manipulation.
Unmanageable. Wow. That's strong.
But then it backs it up. That statistic, 71% of American workers feeling emotionally disengaged.
71%. That's staggering. It's just showing up physically.
But not mentally or emotionally invested. It really shows the limits of old school top-down management.
Yeah, those styles often rely on fear, don't they?
Exactly. Fear of consequences, fear of failure. It might give you short-term compliance,
Sure, people do it because they have to.
but it doesn't build real commitment
Mm.
or creativity
Mm.
or ownership.
So what's the alternative?
True leadership,
Yeah.
inspiring with a compelling vision, it pulls people toward a shared goal.
Polls, not pushes. I like that.
Yeah, it encourages them to care deeply, take responsibility, bring their A game consistently.
So it's the difference between being driven by outside pressure versus pulled by an inside desire. Fear pushes, vision pulls.
Precisely. And the book stresses how critical it is to meet those fundamental human needs.
Safety, belonging, feeling valued.
Exactly those three. To shift people from that reactive, fear-driven state.
Into that proactive, innovation-driven, smart state.
And it's fascinating how deep our survival instincts run. The book talks about unconscious emotional hijacks.
Hijacks.
Yeah, triggered often by these programs, ingrained neural connections, associations from early childhood, usually about threats.
Wow, childhood stuff still running the show.
Often, yeah. Our brains are basically wired to spot danger before seeking happiness. It's a survival thing.
Like that primitive part, the mammalian brain, is always scanning for threats.
Constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Evolutionarily, spotting the saber-toothed tiger was way more important than feeling blissed out, right?
Good point. Explains that negativity bias sometimes.
It does. Think about it. Have you ever overreacted to something and only later realized, oh, that was an old trigger?
Embarrassingly often, yes.
That's what we're talking about. And the book connects this straight back to creating psychological safety, too.
And fostering genuine belonging, making people feel like they matter.
When those needs are met consistently, it builds trust. And trust is absolutely foundational for a smart tribe.
And if they're not met, those emotional reactions take over.
They can, yeah. Hindering progress, stifling innovation. But the good news, the book suggests, is we can actually become aware of these programs.
And even rewrite them.
To some extent, yes. Learning to be present with conflict, consciously choosing our responses instead of just reacting automatically.
Cultivating presence, that sounds key.
It is. The book even suggests a shift. Ask more questions. Inquiry way more than just telling people what to do. Advocacy.
Interesting. Inquiry over advocacy.
It fosters presence,
Yeah.
helps you understand different views, not just push your own. And this all loops back to having that clear, compelling vision, mission, and values.
Absolutely crucial. The book says a vision needs to be crystal clear. I love this line. The meaning of communication is what the other party understood.
So powerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not just what you said, but what they heard and understood.
Takes real effort.
And Peter Singe's definitions are useful here. Mission is the why we exist.
Okay.
Vision is the what, the future we want to create.
The aspiration.
And values are the how, the principles, the behaviors we live by while we do it.
And the book emphasizes values aren't just posters on the wall.
No. They are the specific behaviors the team agrees to live by every day.
That makes sense. And Comerford poses some deep questions for us, right? Like, who do we want to become?
What will we be known for?
What will we be proud to say our identity is? Really gets to the core.
Definitely. And building on that foundation, the book gets into accountability, motivation, influence.
Okay, how does it define accountability here?
Simple, actually. Consistent follow-through, just keeping your word.
Doing what you say you'll do.
Yep. And motivation. It links it to neurochemicals. Dopamine for anticipating rewards.
Ah, the desire chemical.
And oxytocin for that feeling of connection, trust.
The bonding chemical.
So actively fostering safety, belonging, mattering through clear expectations, real recognition, equality, transparency that directly fuels motivation.
It all connects back.
It does. And then there's influence. Not force.
But empowering others.
Exactly. Understanding what drives them, motivating them from that place, building rapport, being flexible.
Got it.
And a critical point for leaders, your own emotional state. It hugely impacts the whole organization's climate, maybe up to 70%.
Wow, 70%. That's a lot of responsibility for how you show up.
It really is. Now, the book also dives into the subconscious mind,
The hidden driver.
saying, what, 90% of our behavior comes from there? And emotional reactions are way faster than intellectual ones,
Lightning fast.
which is where metaprograms come in. Roger Bailey's work.
Metaprograms, tell me more.
Think of them like filters or your brain's default settings for processing info and reacting.
Okay, like personality traits, sort of?
Kind of, but more about processing styles. Comerford focuses on 6 key ones, like, are you motivated towards goals or away from problems?
Ah, carrot versus stick motivation.
A bit like that, yeah. Understanding these tendencies in yourself and others gives you huge insights for communication motivation.
I can see that.
And practical tools, too, like the outcome frame, asking, what specifically do you want? What would having that do for you?
The why behind the what.
And how will you know when you have it? Really cuts through the fuzziness.
That sounds super useful. And didn't the book also suggest language shifts? Like avoiding the word change?
Yeah, because change can trigger resistance. Suggests using words like growth, progress, evolution instead.
Subtle, but potentially powerful.
Absolutely. And for any change or growth to stick, the book stresses energy management.
Managing your energy, not just your time.
Exactly. Consciously identifying and clearing out things that drain your energy or create conflict.
Like what kind of things?
Well, energy gainers are things like exercise, achieving goals, positive people, learning new things.
Makes sense.
And drains could be. Well, recognizing those default negative roles people fall into. Victim, rescuer, persecutor.
The drama triangle.
Right. And shifting from being problem-focused to outcome-focused. Looking at the whole system, not just the symptoms.
See the bigger picture. Got it. Finally, the book talks about logical levels of change.
It does. It's a hierarchy for understanding change. Starts deep with mission, vision, values.
The foundation.
That informs identity, beliefs, then outwards to capabilities, skills, then behaviors, and finally the environment.
Okay, so from deep inside to outward action and surroundings.
Exactly. And the key insight. For change to be lasting, it often needs to start deep, at identity, beliefs.
Like why New Year's resolutions often fail.
Perfect example. Without a deep desire aligned with your core beliefs, you just snap back to familiar patterns, even if they don't serve you.
So a company wanting better customer service, training alone might not be enough.
Probably not, suggests the book.
Yeah.
They might need to revisit core values, like really living customer centricity, or even their identity. We are a company that cares.
That's a much deeper shift.
It is.
Okay, so tying this all together, building these smart tribes, achieving real growth, it's not just about new tactics.
No, it's much deeper.
It's understanding our human tendencies, moving beyond fear, aligning around a clear vision.
And really cultivating that culture of safety, belonging, and mattering.
It sounds like true, lasting transformation really starts from within.
Precisely. It starts with our core beliefs, our values, and then radiates out. Influences behavior, shapes the environment.
So for you listening right now, as you digest all this, maybe consider this. What's one significant program, as the book calls it,
That default pattern.
that you might need to become more aware of? Maybe even rewrite a little to unlock more potential in yourself or your team.
What's one small step you could take, maybe even today,
Yeah, to consciously shift away from just reacting out of fear?
and move intentionally towards being more proactive, more innovative?
Think about how these ideas connect with your own life, your own goals.
It really is about taking that first step towards building your own smart tribe wherever you are.